Most people preparing for collapse spend thousands on food, water filters, and firearms. They memorize bug-out routes and study tactical maneuvers. But there's one massive vulnerability sitting right in front of their house that almost everyone ignores: the garage. That's right. The same space where you're probably storing half your survival gear right now is also the easiest entry point for looters, the most fire-prone room in your home, and a chemical disaster waiting to happen. If you think your suburban garage is just fine because it has a lock, you're already behind. Subscribe now, because what you're about to learn could be the difference between holding your ground and losing everything in the first 72 hours. Walk into any suburban garage right now and you'll see the same pattern. Bins stacked against walls, gas cans next to the water heater, propane tanks stored wherever they fit, expensive tools hanging on pegboards in plain sight through that window everyone forgets about. This isn't preparation. This is a blueprint for failure. When resources become scarce and desperation sets in, your garage becomes a beacon. It screams to anyone walking by that there's value inside, and unlike your reinforced front door, that garage door is shockingly easy to breach. A coat hanger through the weather stripping can disengage the emergency release in under 30 seconds. No power tools needed, no noise, just knowledge that's freely available online, and suddenly your entire stockpile is accessible. Security isn't just about locks, it's about layers and psychology. Right now, your garage door is likely the weakest structural point of your entire home. Standard residential garage doors are made from thin steel or aluminum panels designed for weather resistance, not security. They flex under pressure. The tracks can be pried. The opener mechanism creates a permanent vulnerability, even when locked. During Hurricane Katrina, looters didn't break through front doors. They went through garages because they knew it was faster and quieter. The same tactic appears in every major disaster where law enforcement is overwhelmed. Your neighbors who think they're secure because they have a deadbolt on the man door don't realize the entire garage door can be lifted off its tracks with a crowbar and 2 people. Let's talk about what you can actually do. First, disable or reinforce that emergency release cord. It's the red handle hanging from your opener, the one designed to let you manually open the door during power outages. It's also the easiest exploit for break-ins. You can replace it with a zip tie release that requires a tool to activate, or install a shield that blocks access from outside while keeping interior functionality. Second, install a manual deadbolt lock on the inside of the garage door itself. When you're home or bugging in, that deadbolt makes forced entry significantly harder. It's a $10 part that takes 20 minutes to install, yet almost nobody does it. Third, reinforce the door tracks. Heavy-duty bolts through the tracks into wall studs prevent the door from being lifted out. These aren't hypothetical measures. They're documented solutions from security professionals who've studied actual break-in patterns. But security means nothing if your garage becomes a death trap from the inside. This is where most suburban preppers create their own worst-case scenario without realizing it. You've got flammable liquids, combustible materials, pressurized containers, and ignition sources all sharing the same poorly ventilated space. Gasoline, paint thinner, aerosol cans, propane tanks, oily rags, cardboard boxes, and that gas-powered generator you're counting on, all within feet of electrical panels, water heaters, and power tools that create sparks. One spark, one chemical reaction, one pressurized container in direct sunlight, and your entire prep goes up in flames. Garage fires spread to the main house in an average of 5 minutes. That's less time than it takes to grab your bug-out bag. The National Fire Protection Association tracks this data religiously, and the numbers don't lie. Garages are the starting point for residential fires in approximately 15% of home fire incidents, but they account for a disproportionate amount of total property loss because of what's stored there. When fuels ignite in an enclosed space with limited ventilation, you get rapid fire spread and toxic smoke production. That smoke contains carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, and other chemicals from burning plastics and treated materials. It's not just heat, it's poison. And if your garage is attached to your living space with a standard interior door, that smoke enters your home within minutes, even if the door is closed. The gap under the door is enough. The ventilation into your attic space is enough. You could be asleep when it starts, and by the time smoke alarms wake you, your escape routes are already compromised. Here's what actually works for safe storage. Flammable liquids need to be in approved safety cans, not the plastic gas containers everyone uses. Those red metal safety cans with the spring-loaded caps aren't just for industrial sites. They're designed to prevent vapor buildup and withstand impacts. Store them at floor level in a well-ventilated area away from ignition sources. If your garage has a water heater, those containers need to be at least 10 feet away, preferably in a vented storage cabinet. Propane tanks should never be stored indoors, period. Not in the garage, not in the shed, not in the basement. Propane is heavier than air. If there's a leak, it settles at ground level where any spark from a pilot light, electrical switch, or static discharge can ignite it. Store propane outside in a shaded area with proper ventilation, and check the connections regularly with soapy water to detect leaks. Oily rags are a silent killer that most people don't even think about. When you finish a project and toss oil-soaked rags into a pile or a closed container, you're creating the perfect conditions for spontaneous combustion. It's not a myth, it's thermodynamics. As the oil oxidizes, it generates heat. In a confined space with poor air circulation, that heat builds until the material reaches its ignition temperature. It can take hours or days, but it happens regularly enough that fire departments have specific protocols for it. The solution is simple. Spread oily rags flat to dry in a well-ventilated area, or store them in a metal container filled with water until you can dispose of them properly. This is basic fire safety that could prevent your entire stockpile from going up while you sleep. Then there's the gear itself, the stuff you've spent months or years accumulating. Walk into your garage right now and ask yourself, if someone broke in tonight, what would they take first? Because looters during collapse aren't grabbing your canned beans. They're grabbing tools, generators, fuel, batteries, anything portable and immediately useful. Your circular saw is worth more in barter than your freeze-dried meals because it has instant utility. Your cordless drill set, your chainsaw, your air compressor, these items have value to anyone, not just preppers. And you've got them displayed on pegboards like a hardware store, visible through windows organized for easy access. You've done the inventory for the looters. This isn't paranoia. This is pattern recognition from every disaster where civil order broke down. During the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami in Japan, even in a society known for social cohesion, tools and fuel were among the first items to disappear. In Hurricane Maria's aftermath in Puerto Rico, generators were stolen at gunpoint. In the 2021 Texas power crisis, people were siphoning gas from cars and parking lots. When people need something to survive and stores are closed, they take what's available. Your visible, accessible garage full of high-value tools is available. The solution isn't to move everything inside your house. It's to make your garage look like it has nothing worth taking while keeping your critical items secured and hidden. Windows should be covered or frosted so nobody can see inside. That means window film, curtains, or strategically placed storage that blocks the view. Your most valuable tools need to be in locked cabinets or a secure room within the garage, a cage built from metal studs and wire mesh, or a closet with a reinforced door and quality lock. Portable high-value items like generators and compressors should be chained and locked to permanent structures. Use hardened steel chains and shrouded padlocks that can't be easily cut or pried. Make theft require time, noise, and tools that most opportunistic looters won't have. But here's the mistake almost everyone makes with their survival stockpile in the garage. They store everything together in one obvious area. Plastic bins labeled emergency supplies stacked in a corner. Shelving units loaded with clearly organized food, water, and gear. It's efficient for you, and it's efficient for anyone who breaks in. They don't need to search. You've done the work for them. Real security through obscurity means distributing your supplies and disguising them as normal household items. Food storage can be in unmarked bins, mixed with seasonal decorations or old household goods. Water can be stored behind building materials or in areas that look like construction leftovers. Critical gear can be hidden inside old appliances, false bottom storage boxes, or buried in plain sight under workshop clutter. Temperature control is another factor that's destroying supplies in suburban garages right now. Most garages aren't climate controlled. Summer temperatures routinely exceed 100 degrees degrees, about 38 degrees C, and in direct sunlight on dark surfaces, it can reach 120 degree, 120 degree, and 120 degree F, 49 degree, 49 degree, and 49 degree C, or higher. Winter temperatures in northern climates drop below freezing for months. These temperature swings are catastrophic for most survival supplies. Batteries lose capacity and leak. Canned goods degrade faster. The USDA estimates that for every 18 degree increase above 70 degree, food shelf life is cut in half. Medications break down. Plastics become brittle. Rubber seals crack. Seeds lose viability. You're not building a stockpile. You're creating expensive garbage on a delayed timer. Freeze-thaw cycles are particularly destructive. Water-based items like canned goods, beverages, and liquid medications expand when frozen and can rupture containers. Even if the container doesn't break, the repeated expansion and contraction damages food texture and nutritional content. Batteries exposed to freezing temperatures suffer permanent capacity loss. Alkaline batteries can leak even if they haven't been used. Electronics develop condensation inside when moved between temperature extremes, causing corrosion. That emergency radio you're counting on might be corroded internally from moisture cycles you never saw happening. The fix requires either climate control or strategic storage relocation. If you're committed to garage storage, insulation and temperature management become non-negotiable. Insulating garage doors and walls helps stabilize temperature swings. Adding a small climate-controlled closet or insulated storage room within the garage protects temperature-sensitive items. But the simpler solution is to move anything temperature-sensitive into your home's conditioned space. Basement storage, interior closets, underbed containers. These areas maintain stable temperatures that protect your investment. Your garage becomes the location for fuel, tools, and items that can handle temperature variations, while your critical supplies stay protected inside. Humidity and moisture create another layer of destruction. Garages are notorious for moisture problems because they're the transition point between outside and inside. Every time that door opens, humid air enters. Concrete floors release moisture through a process called efflorescence. Poor drainage around the foundation means water seeps in during heavy rain. That moisture condenses on cold surfaces, creates rust on metal tools, promotes mold growth in cardboard and fabric, and degrades packaging. Your ammo can corrode. Your tools rust. Your stored clothing and sleeping bags develop mold. Even properly sealed food containers can fail if the seals degrade from moisture exposure. You need active moisture control, not passive hope. Dehumidifiers work if you have climate control, but they require constant power, not reliable during grid-down scenarios. Desiccant solutions are more practical. Large containers of calcium chloride or silica gel in storage areas absorb ambient moisture. They need to be monitored and replaced regularly, but they work without power. Proper storage also means elevating everything off the concrete floor using pallets or shelving. Air circulation underneath prevents moisture accumulation. Metal items need protective coatings, oil for tools, cosmoline for firearms, rust inhibitor sprays for anything that can't be regularly maintained. This isn't optional maintenance. This is the difference between having functional tools and having rust-covered paperweights when you need them. Chemical storage is where most people create genuine hazards without realizing it. You've got automotive fluids, pesticides, fertilizers, pool chemicals, cleaning supplies, and paint products all sharing space. Many of these chemicals react dangerously when mixed or stored improperly. Chlorine, bleach, and ammonia create toxic chloramine gas. Acids and bases produce violent reactions. Oxidizers near flammable materials create fire risks. Even the off-gassing from certain chemicals in confined spaces can cause health problems or create explosive atmospheres. Your garage might be a chemical weapon waiting to deploy against your own family. Proper chemical storage means separation, ventilation, and containment. Incompatible chemicals need physical barriers between them. Separate cabinets, different areas of the garage, secondary containment that prevents mixing if containers leak. Ventilation prevents vapor buildup that could ignite or poison. Every chemical container needs to be clearly labeled with contents and hazards, and you need to actually know what you're storing. That old paint can from a project 5 years ago could be oil-based or latex, They have different disposal requirements and fire risks. Those garden chemicals might be organophosphates that require specific PPE even during storage. Ignorance isn't an excuse when your family's safety is at risk. Here's something most preppers completely overlook. Your garage is likely sharing a wall with your living space, and that wall isn't as secure as you think. Standard fire codes require a certain level of fire resistance, but that's often just one layer of fire-rated drywall. It's not designed to stop smoke, fumes, or sustained fire exposure. If your garage is the source of a chemical fire or explosion, that wall provides minimal protection. The door between your garage and house is usually a standard interior door, not a fire-rated exterior door. The gap underneath allows smoke and fumes to enter. The doorframe might not be properly sealed. You could have carbon monoxide, fuel vapors, or toxic smoke entering your living space without any warning beyond your sense of smell. And by the time you smell it, the concentration is already dangerous. Upgrade that connecting door to a solid core or metal fire-rated door with proper weather stripping and a quality threshold. Install a door sweep that seals the gap at the bottom. Add a battery-powered carbon monoxide detector in the garage itself, not just in the house. This detector needs to be specific to garage environments where fuel-powered equipment is stored or operated. These small modifications create actual barriers between your garage hazards and your living space, giving you time to respond before a problem becomes a catastrophe. Let's address the elephant in the garage: generators. Almost everyone planning for grid-down scenarios has a generator, and almost everyone is storing and planning to use it dangerously. Generators produce carbon monoxide, an odorless, colorless gas that kills quickly in enclosed spaces. Yet people store generators in garages and plan to run them there with the door open, because they think ventilation through an open door is sufficient. It's not. Carbon monoxide is slightly lighter than air and spreads throughout enclosed spaces even with partial ventilation. Running a generator inside a garage, even with doors and windows open, can create lethal concentrations within minutes. People die every year making this exact mistake during power outages. Generators belong outside, period. Not in the garage, not in a shed, not under a covered porch near windows or doors. They need to be at least 20 feet from any opening to your home. Windows, doors, vents, air intakes. They need to be protected from rain with a proper generator cover or canopy that doesn't restrict airflow. They need to be secured against theft with chains, cables, or a locked enclosure that still provides adequate ventilation. And they need to be tested regularly, not just started once a year. Fuel systems degrade, carburetors clog, oil breaks down. A generator that hasn't run in 6 months might not start when you need it. Or worse, it might start and fail after an hour because of maintenance neglect. Fuel storage for that generator is another critical vulnerability. Gasoline degrades rapidly. Within 3 to 6 months without stabilizer, it loses combustibility and forms varnish deposits that clog fuel systems. You can't stockpile gasoline like canned food. It requires active management, fuel stabilizer added at the time of storage, proper containers that prevent evaporation and contamination, rotation schedules that use old fuel before it degrades. 5-gallon gas cans sitting in your garage for a year might not run your generator when the grid fails. They might not even ignite. Better fuel strategies exist. Propane stores indefinitely without degradation, and dual fuel generators that run on both gasoline and propane provide flexibility. Diesel fuel has longer storage life than gasoline, 12 to 24 months with proper treatment, and diesel generators are more fuel efficient for extended run times. But whatever fuel you choose, the storage requirements don't change. Approved containers, proper ventilation, separation from ignition sources, and secondary containment to prevent spills from spreading. A 5-gallon fuel spill in your garage creates vapor concentrations that are immediately ignitable and dangerous to breathe. One spark from any source and you're dealing with a major fire. Now let's talk about what happens when the power actually goes out and your garage stored supplies become your lifeline. You've got food, water, gear, and fuel all stored there, and suddenly everyone in the neighborhood is watching who goes in and out of garages. They're noticing who has light when the grid is down. They're paying attention to generator noise, cooking smells, and activity patterns. Your operational security is now critical, and your garage is a spotlight pointing at your preparations. This is where most suburban preppers fail spectacularly. They fire up their loud generator at night, run power tools during the day, and create light and noise that advertises capability and resources. In a short-term outage, this might just attract attention. In a prolonged collapse scenario, this gets people hurt. Desperate neighbors become threats not because they're evil, but because they're starving and they know you have supplies. Your visible, accessible garage becomes the obvious target because you've been advertising its contents through your operational patterns. Blackout discipline means controlling light, noise, and activity signatures. Generators need to be muffled with sound-dampening enclosures, or run only during daylight hours when ambient noise is higher. Lights in the garage need blackout coverings so they're not visible from outside. Activity patterns need to mimic your neighbors. If everyone's house is dark and quiet, yours needs to appear the same from the outside. Your actual survival operations happen in interior rooms with no exterior visibility. The garage becomes a staging area accessed minimally and carefully, not your main operational center. Everything you've stored in that garage needs to be retrievable quickly and quietly if you need to bug out. Right now, it probably isn't. Your bug-out bags are buried under camping gear. Your fuel cans are blocked by lawn equipment. Your critical documents and supplies require moving 50 pounds of stored junk to access. When seconds matter and adrenaline is pumping, you need a clear path and organized staging. That means designated bug-out zones with unobstructed access, preloaded vehicles or carts that can be deployed immediately, and practice drills so everyone in your household knows exactly where things are and how to execute the plan. Here's a reality check most people avoid. Your garage might not be usable when collapse happens. If there's been a natural disaster, that garage door might be jammed by debris, damaged by impact, or non-functional, because the opener requires power and you can't access the manual release safely. If there's civil unrest, accessing your garage might expose you to threats you can't mitigate. If there's been a chemical or biological event, your garage might be contaminated. Your entire storage strategy can't depend on a single point of access that might fail exactly when you need it most. Redundancy means multiple access points and distributed storage. Interior access from your house into the garage provides a secured route that doesn't require outside exposure. Windows in the garage become emergency exits if doors are blocked, but they need to be secured against entry from outside. Critical supplies need to exist in multiple locations, some in the garage for capacity, but essential duplicates inside your home where access is guaranteed. This isn't inefficient. This is survivable planning that accounts for real failure modes instead of perfect scenarios. Vehicle storage in your garage creates both assets and liabilities. Your car provides mobility and cargo capacity, but it's also a resource drain and potential hazard. A full gas tank becomes part of your fuel supply, but it's also a fire risk if the vehicle is damaged or improperly maintained. The vehicle battery can power devices through an inverter, but it requires the battery to be maintained and the vehicle to be accessible. Most people's vehicles are trapped in garages behind other stored items, with dead batteries and low fuel, making them useless for bug-out scenarios. Your vehicle needs to be maintained as part of your survival system. Full tank at all times, battery tender if it's not driven regularly. Emergency supplies staged inside, not in bags you intend to grab from storage, but actually inside the vehicle ready to go. Clear path to exit the garage without obstacles. Keys in a known location accessible to everyone who might need to drive. This seems obvious, but walk into your garage right now and see if you can actually execute a rapid vehicle deployment. Most can't. The garage door itself needs backup operation plans. Automatic openers fail. Power outages disable them. Mechanical failures happen. You need to know how to manually operate your door safely, and you need to practice it. Most people have never actually used their emergency release system under load. The door is heavy. Double garage doors can weigh 300 pounds or more. Springs under tension can cause serious injury if released improperly. Tracks can bind. If you've never manually operated your garage door, the middle of an emergency is a terrible time to learn. And if you really want to survive when the world turns dark, subscribe now and learn what others don't dare to teach. Share this with someone who needs to hear it before it's too late, because the garage they're ignoring right now might be the vulnerability that costs them everything. Let's get specific about what a hardened garage actually looks like in practice, not theoretical concepts. actual implementations that work. Start with the door itself. A standard garage door needs reinforcement bars across the inside, metal struts that prevent the door panels from being pried or pushed in. These attach to the horizontal sections and distribute force across the entire door structure instead of allowing single panel failure. Add a manual deadbolt lock that engages into the door track on each side. When you're home, these locks make forced entry require cutting through the door itself, not just exploiting the opener mechanism. The windows need to be either eliminated or made non-transparent. Frosted film, blackout curtains, or strategic interior storage that blocks the view. If eliminating windows entirely is an option during renovation or upgrade, take it. Windows are visibility vulnerabilities and structural weak points. Every window is a potential entry point that requires secondary security measures. If you must have windows for building codes or personal preference, they need security film that holds glass together when broken, and interior barriers that prevent access even if glass is breached. The man door, that regular door between your garage and outside, needs to be treated like an exterior door because it is one. Solid core or metal construction. Heavy-duty deadbolt with a minimum 1-inch throw. Strike plate secured with 3-inch screws into wall studs, not just into the door frame. Hinges with non-removable pins or secured from inside with set screws. Weather stripping that actually seals the door. This door gets the same security treatment as your front door, not the lightweight hollow core interior door that probably came with your house. Interior organization needs to prioritize both security and accessibility. High-value items in locked storage. Critical supplies distributed so losing access to one area doesn't eliminate your entire stockpile. Clear zones for different categories. Fuel and hazardous materials in one ventilated area. Tools and secured storage. Food and water in temperature-controlled sections. Vehicle supplies and bug-out gear in rapid access staging. Every zone needs to serve a purpose and follow safety protocols for what's stored there. Lighting becomes critical during power outages. Battery-powered LED lights with motion sensors provide illumination without advertising to the outside. They need to be positioned to light work areas and access paths without creating shadows where threats could hide. Backup lighting systems need regular testing and battery rotation. This isn't about convenience. This is about maintaining operational capability when you're working in your garage during a blackout and need to see what you're doing without announcing your activity to everyone outside. Fire suppression in garages is criminally neglected. A standard ABC fire extinguisher is the bare minimum. You need at least 2 in easily accessible locations, mounted and clearly visible. But you also need to understand their limitations. Fire extinguishers work on small fires caught early. Once a fire spreads beyond a small contained area, evacuation is your only option. That means you need smoke detectors in the garage, heat detectors in areas where smoke detectors might false alarm from vehicle exhaust, and a plan for rapid evacuation that everyone knows and has practiced. Some preppers install automatic fire suppression systems in their garages, sprinklers or chemical systems that activate when heat thresholds are reached. This is expensive but effective, especially if you're storing significant value in fuel and equipment. The water damage from sprinkler activation is vastly preferable to total loss from fire. Chemical systems like FM200 or dry chemical suppress fires without water damage but require professional installation and maintenance. These aren't necessary for basic preparation, but they're worth considering if your garage houses critical survival infrastructure you can't afford to lose. Document everything you store. Not just mental inventory, actual written or digital records with descriptions, quantities, locations, and purchase dates. This serves multiple purposes. You know what you have and where it is. You can track rotation schedules for perishable items, and you have documentation for insurance claims if disaster strikes. Store this documentation in multiple locations. Physical copy in your safe, digital copy in encrypted cloud storage, backup copy in your bug-out bag. When you're stressed and operating under pressure, reliable information prevents mistakes. Maintenance schedules need to be calendar-based, not whenever you remember. Tools need cleaning and lubrication. Batteries need testing and rotation. Fuel needs stabilizer and turnover. Stored food needs inspection for damage or pest intrusion. Vehicles need oil changes and tire pressure checks. Generator systems need regular run cycles under load. This isn't optional hobby time. This is the maintenance that determines whether your preparations work when needed or fail catastrophically. Security systems for garages often get overlooked in favor of home security. Your garage needs sensors on doors and windows integrated with your overall security system. Motion-activated cameras covering approaches and interior spaces. Alarms that alert you to unauthorized entry attempts. Remote monitoring capability so you can check your garage when you're away. These systems need backup power supplies so they function during outages. An alarm system that goes silent when the grid fails is worthless for the scenarios you're preparing for. Physical barriers beyond locks create delays that give you time to respond to threats. A properly secured garage should require multiple steps to breach, bypassing exterior security to reach the building, defeating the garage door mechanisms, breaching interior locks or barriers, and then actually accessing stored items through additional security layers. Each barrier buys time. Time for alarms to alert you, time for you to arm and respond, time for law enforcement to arrive if they're still functioning. The goal isn't to make entry impossible, it's to make entry so difficult and time-consuming that easier targets become more attractive. Community context matters for garage security. If you live in a neighborhood with active community watch or mutual assistance agreements, your garage security integrates with broader neighborhood defense plans. If you're isolated or in a neighborhood where you can't trust others, your garage becomes a solo defensive position that needs to be tenable for you and your household alone. Know which scenario applies to your situation and plan accordingly. Assumptions about community support that don't reflect reality can be fatal. One of the smartest upgrades you can make is converting part of your garage into a secure room or safe room. This doesn't have to be expensive or complex. A corner of the garage framed with metal studs, covered with plywood or metal sheeting, with a reinforced door and quality lock creates a cage for high-value items. This room becomes your priority storage area for things you absolutely cannot afford to lose. Weapons, ammunition, precious metals, critical documents, high-value tools, backup communications equipment. It's harder to build than it is to breach, but it creates a significant barrier that most opportunistic thieves won't overcome. The psychological aspect of garage security is understanding that visible security measures deter casual threats while potentially attracting determined ones. A garage that looks hardened might scare off random looters, or it might signal that there's something valuable worth protecting. You need to balance visible deterrence with low-profile appearance. This is the gray man principle applied to your property. Secure enough to resist casual threats, but not so obviously fortified that you advertise high-value contents. Subtle reinforcements that aren't visible from outside. Security measures that look like normal maintenance or household improvements. Strength that doesn't announce itself. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the pinned comment some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. Your garage is either your greatest vulnerability or your strategic asset. The difference is determined by decisions you make right now, before collapse forces you to improvise with inadequate resources and no time. Every gap in security, every storage hazard, every maintenance failure you ignore today becomes a crisis multiplier when systems break down and you're operating under stress with no backup. The garage most preppers have right now is a liability disguised as preparation. Visible, vulnerable, and dangerous. The garage you need is hardened, organized, maintained, and integrated into a comprehensive security strategy that accounts for real threats instead of comfortable assumptions. Walk into your garage tonight. Really look at it. Ask yourself if it would survive the first week of collapse. Ask if a determined looter could breach it in under 5 minutes. Ask if a fire starting there would give you time to save your family. Ask if the fuel you're storing will actually work in your generator when the grid fails. Ask if you could execute a rapid bug out with what's stored there, or if you'd be digging through junk while threats close in. The answers to these questions determine whether you survive or become another statistic in the collapse you saw coming but didn't fully prepare for. Don't just listen. Act. Like, comment, and share this with someone who needs to hear it before it's too late. Your suburban garage is either going to save you or kill you when the world falls apart. There's no middle ground. Choose now which one it's going to be.